Hi, it's Nell, and yes, I do have a ladder in the background, but that's not for the project I'm working on today. That's for a project I'm going to tell you about in a little bit, but this is all about pruning and propagating my burro's tail, Sedum. I know you love this plant, and I'm going to tell you what the pruning is all about, why I'm doing it, and I'm going to show you how I propagate it. The whole process is really easy, so stick around for that. Oh, first of all, I want to tell you I got a wireless microphone, so it's made this so much easier. I was just about to quit YouTube because I was always falling over that wire, tripping and falling, and I was going to give up YouTube because I make my money blogging. Then I thought, well, I reach a different audience on YouTube, an audience I like, so I thought, okay, I'll get the wireless microphone, and it's made it so much easier because I film myself. Ah, yay! So I just wanted to tell you that tidbit of information. Oh, the other thing I want to tell you too is that Joyous Garden is now on Instagram. I have quite a few people asking, so you can head over to Instagram, and it's at Joyous Garden, Joyous, yes, garden, all one word. And we've just started it, so if you want to check it out, see what's going on. Posting about 3 times a week right now, so warming up to it. So the first thing I want to say about the burro's tail sedum, which is Sedum Morganianum, there's also one called Burrito, and that has smaller leaves and it's closer together. This is the burro's tail. They sometimes get lumped under the same thing, so if you have one that has smaller leaves and they're really tight and close together, that is the burrito. But the on this plant, I'm looking at the cuttings over there, that's why I'm pointing. With this plant, the leaves fall off so easily, and there's not too much you can do about it. I did post in a video on working with hanging succulents without all the leaves falling off, but that really doesn't work for propagating because you need access to the plant. So if you're curious about that, I will leave the link to the post and video down below. So that is the one sort of challenging thing about doing this. That's about the only thing. And I've had a couple of people ask me if leaves will go back on the stem where the leaves have fallen off, and no. So this is why I am cutting them back. I want to encourage some more growth up on the top. Some of the stems have gotten very bare, so I just want them to look better. And I got quite a few cuttings out of it. I think I got 10 or 11, which is enough for me. So I will be planting them back in the planter after they root. And of course, the best time to propagate is spring or summer. This is summer now. I'm in the Arizona desert, so it is really summer, believe me. Whew. But it is, when is it? It's about mid-July. So that's a good time. It's just not an optimum time to do it during the cooler months. So if you can do it spring, summer, or I could do it in early fall where I am, but spring and summer are the best. And like with any propagating you're doing, you want to make sure that your cutting tools are clean and sharp. I've also done a video and a post on that, how I do mine, so I will leave that down below too. And let's see, is there anything else that you need to know? Oh, yes, I'm doing stem cuttings. You can also do a leaf propagation too, which I will tell you a little bit about later on. And I think that is it. So I actually did the pruning yesterday, and then I let them heal over for a day. When I lived in Santa Barbara, California, on the coast of California, I would let them heal off for about 5 days. Other succulent cuttings I let heal off for a much longer time, but these I find they sort of lose They lose the, what do you want to call it? The plumpness in their leaves if you let them go out too long, but you want it to go long enough so the stems will heal over. So that's what healing over is. It's like a wound. Our wound is exposed, and when it heals over, it's much easier for us. It can withstand environmental challenges, shall we say. Works if you have an open wound. Not so good. And of course, there is a blog post to go along with this. It'll have some pictures explaining it by steps if there's something you missed or you can't quite get. So the link to the post will be down below, along with another post I've done on this plant. It was called Care and Propagation of Burro's Tail Sedum, but I wanted to do a separate propagating one just in case that's what you were interested in. And also I did that video like probably 5 years ago in Santa Barbara, so it's time for a little update on that. So now we're going to go back in time a day, and you can see what I did, and you can see the cuttings too, and then I'm going to jump back in and show you how I plant these. First of all, I'm going to tie up the ponytail palm in the front to get the leaves out of the way. There it is. It's really green in the background, so it doesn't stand out. Oh, there's the Texas olive. Since we've gotten a little bit of rain, it's blooming so much better. But it blooms like from April almost through September, October or so. It's nice back there. Oh, there we go. Just wanted to give you a overall shot. Okay, so the ponytail palm is tied up and out of the way. You all didn't know I was a hairdresser, huh? Look at that Fabu style. Wow. So, before we start the pruning of the burro's tail, I just want to show you another propagation project got going on. The string of pearls and the string of bananas are rooted. I put them in my garage, and it's about time for them to get planted in. But there's this burro's tail here that if you watched the string of bananas propagating, you would have seen it. It was just a cutting that fell off, or a piece of the plant that fell off, and I put it in my kitchen, and I didn't plant it for like, I think it was 7 days, and I thought maybe it might plump back up, but it's still really wrinkled. I don't know if it's even rooted yet. Let's see. Nope, that's just cocoa fiber. It hasn't rooted, so I don't know if I'm going to keep that one or not, but I'm going to show you where I'm going to plant these. So right over here behind curtain number 1, if you haven't watched any of my videos, especially the ones about fleshy succulents, I live in Tucson, and the sun is strong here, and not today. We're in the monsoon season. We're having a little rain, and it can burn these even though they only get direct sun for like an hour and a half in the morning. So I'm going to be planting them in this pot to fill it out. And by the way, this string of bananas is growing like crazy, and I'm going to put quite a few more into it. So I think there'll be a cuttings giveaway, another cuttings giveaway in August. So stay tuned for that. I'm focused down on the burro's tail so you can see what's going on here. And there's a few stems like these that actually only have growth at the bottom. So I want to stimulate more of this growth here, and some growth up at the top because it's coming very nicely. Probably cut that one off too, and this one because it's kind of bare there. And once the burro's tail loses the leaves in the middle, they aren't going to grow back. So you can cut them back, and it happens because the leaves fall off so easily on these plants. As you can tell, I just picked up this stem and a couple leaves fell off. I don't know if it fell off at that stem or a neighboring stem, but it did. And here's one that's all shriveled and dried up because it's bent here, but there's some new growth coming here and here, so that's good. And I'm probably gonna cut this one too because it is getting long. Oh, these leaves just fall off if you look at them. And a couple of the stems are almost gonna hit the ground. They're getting down there, so I just want to take those off too. And after I propagate them, get them in the mix and they actually root, I'm going to plant them back in here, probably more about here and here and here and here, just to get a little bit more Burro's tail action going on. Probably here, because this is really shady at the front. It catches a little bit of sun there. But I'll put some on both sides. But it's just a couple of them are just not looking all that good. And here is some of that new growth coming right there. It's also coming off the top of the stem there. So that's what I'm aiming for. Despite the fact that it's a little hotter here than it prefers, it's not looking too bad. I think it likes living with the ponytail too. I think they're getting along very well. And then I put some of the crystal geodes in there. So they're all getting spiritual together. Oops, I forgot to turn on my microphone. So I've already made a couple of cuts, but I'm gonna go in for a few more. This one is very sparse. Actually, the whole thing. Am I gonna cut off that one too? I think I'll cut off that one. Hopefully that'll cover. In this one, where's the other one? Well, let's see. Oh, here. This one here is pretty sparse, so I'm going to cut it right at the leaf. And speaking of these individual leaves that are all falling off as I do this, you can actually propagate them too. But that takes longer, and I'm not going to because I have all these stems I'm going to end up with. So this one I'm going to take all the way back because it works off of that one. And then let's see. Wow, there are more than I thought. I'm going to take off this one because it's got this coming off there. There we go. My gosh, I'm going to have almost a whole new plant. Okay, I'm just going to do a couple more, otherwise I'm not going to have too much on here. This one I'm going to cut right here. It's got this one going off of it. And that's what happens on some of the stems. Not all, but many of them. And then I'm going to do this one here. I'm going to cut it right there. So here's how the plant looks after I took the cuttings off. Could stand that one over on the left. That one really shows off, so I think I'm going to take that one too. Because this overall doesn't look too bad. And I tipped a couple of the longer ones too. Here's Riley Cat out enjoying some fresh air. And here are the cuttings right here. And these are not toxic to cats or dogs. I was pretty sure, but I just went in to check on the ASPCA website, and they used a picture of my Burro's tail cutting from my house in Santa Barbara. I was like, hey, that's my picture. So anyway, if you go there on Burro's tail, you'll see a little cutting, which is mine. But even if they were toxic, he could care less about plants. He's interested in lizards and hummingbirds and cicadas and things that move around. Plants he has no interest in. Oh, Riley Cat. Oh yes, nappy time. Okay, so I cut this one right here that you see, and that's how long I wanted. It gives them enough stem to go inside the pot. And there are my floral nips. Love them for this kind of a job. I will leave the link to them in the blog post. So now I'm going to get going and strip the foliage off of some of these too, because I don't put that in with the mix, and then I will let them heal over for a day and plant them. So I'm going to show you how I strip the leaves off a couple of them, just in case you're a beginner and you don't know what I mean by that. I want it to be exactly the same. Actually, I think I'm going to cut that off just a little bit more, and I'm going to cut this one off about here. So we get rid of these. I'm not going to propagate that because I don't need to. So you just do this, and that's all. And I'm going to strip them about the same to right there. And that's how you do that. You just have to be careful when you handle these, because as I said, they fall off if you look at them cross-eyed. In case you wanted to propagate the leaves, they're very, very easy to do. I usually fill up a terracotta saucer with succulent and cactus mix, and I take the leaf. You want to make sure you get the end that actually attaches to the stem. You don't want to get it like right here. You want that part, and then I just lay it in the succulent and cactus mix, and I mix it. I missed it. I mix it up like a cake. I missed it, and over time, a little piece of new growth will show off of the base of the leaf where you have put it into the mix. So I ended up getting 10 cuttings out of that. Happy about that. Be able to fill some in that pot really nicely. So before we focus back in, here's Riley hanging out again. It's that sleepy time of the afternoon. Okay, okay, Kit Kat, you're going to have to move over because I'm going to plant some cuttings. So for the planting up, I'm just going to work on my table out here in the patio because I don't want to haul my work table out. Plus, I'm going out soon. So anyway, here's what I'm got going on here. These are floral pins, and they are great to have around. I've used and reused these. I will leave a link to them in the blog post. And what they do is they're going to hold these heavier cuttings into this lighter mix, because this is straight succulent and cactus mix, so it's not heavy at all. And that's what you want, because you want the roots to easily form. And I have more cuttings. I just have a few here. And the popsicle stick is in lieu of the chopstick I usually use, and that just makes a hole in the mix. Sort of drills a hole in the mix so I can get it in. Okay, so are you taking up even more room now? Okay, so here we go. So we got the mix. So it's not hard at all. You just start by poking a hole in, and this is a really chunky mix. See, gosh, these leaves are falling off even as I'm doing this. And then I just sort of use this to get the mix all around it, and then these just go right in there, and it's going to hold that cutting in there. And then when I go to take them out to plant them, I can just take out the pins. Okay, I'm going to do one more just to show you, because I realized that I wasn't focused down enough, I don't think, and I really want you to get the idea. And it's okay, no, you can plant them fairly close. That's okay. Okay, here we go. Just, there we go. Kind of hold them up. Just pat it around and get that pin in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to finish up planting these. And then I will jump back in at the end of this and tell you where I'm going to put them and how I am going to take care of them while they're rooting. Okay, there we go. Oh, and by the way, this is straight succulent cactus mix. It doesn't have any compost. It doesn't have any worm compost in there. I will use that when I do the planting, but when I root things, I just like a straight mix for propagation. You can use a propagation mix, but a succulent and cactus mix works just fine. It's nice and light and aerated, and that's what the roots need to be able to poke their way out of the stems. And here's a little close-up so you can see the cuttings. I just finished up putting them in there, and it looks like little octopus. So if I have forgotten anything, I will put it in the blog post, but it's a good way to, this is a good way to rejuvenate your Burro's tail sedum and get a little bit more growth on that. I probably do it about every 2 years on these because they do tend to lose the leaves in the middle. Every now and then, mine in Santa Barbara did. It was exactly the same way, but the leaves were much, much bigger on the plant there because that's that temperate coastal climate that they love, not the scorching Arizona desert. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this in my utility room. It has a skylight above, so there's nice, beautiful, bright light, not direct, not too strong. I'm going to let it just sort of settle in there, and after probably a day, I will water it. I like to let them settle in to a dry mix too, just because I was told that ages ago, and it's always worked for me, so I'm going to do that. I would have maybe let it go for 3 days or so, but here it's warm, so tomorrow I will give it a good thorough watering so that all the water drains out of the bottom of the pot. And I will probably water it about every maybe 5 to 7 days, depending on how much it's drying out. You don't want to keep them sopping wet, but with cuttings, you don't want to let them go too dry for too long. So it just depends on your temperatures and how warm your house is, which is obviously your temperature, and your humidity and all that kind of stuff. So for me, as I said, it'll be about once a week, maybe a little bit more. And then I will probably put them out in my garage. I have lights. I've got windows in the garage, so there's some light coming in through there, but they'll be in the utility room for like a week or two. So I hope you have found this video to be helpful, and I have a lot more videos coming your way, so stay tuned for those. I thank you for all your likes and your subscribes. I really appreciate them. Now let's get out in the garden, or into our indoor gardens, because you can also grow this plant indoors if you have enough light, and make our worlds a more beautiful place. As always, I thank you so much for watching, and come back and see us again sometime. How Riles? Yep. He's just, as you can see how thrilled he is to be on camera.